Welcome back to RV News, your go-to source for everything related to currency revaluation, global financial developments, and the real story behind the scenes. If you're holding on to Iraqi Dinar or Vietnamese Dong, or simply following the roller coaster of the RV journey, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe because what we're about to reveal today is absolutely jaw-dropping. In this episode, we're breaking down shocking new information that has emerged from inside Chase Bank, information that has left investors stunned and scrambling to prepare. An insider, a current Chase Bank employee, has come forward with confidential and potentially game-changing details regarding the IQD and VND, information that may signal the long-awaited rate rollout is already underway in select locations. Buckle up, because this could be one of the biggest updates we've seen in years. It started like most of these things do, with a quiet tip, an off-the-record comment, something that seemed like speculation but turned out to be something much more concrete. According to multiple sources and eyewitnesses, a Chase Bank employee recently spoke privately to a small group of currency holders. What this individual revealed was nothing short of explosive. During what was described as a routine customer conversation, this employee let slip that internal systems within Chase are now showing active rate indicators for both the Iraqi Dinar, IQD, and the Vietnamese Dong, VND. Not placeholder codes, not grayed out pending fields, but actual live rates being tested and quietly rolled out across specific redemption systems. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, we're not saying this is full public confirmation from Chase Bank that the revaluation has gone live globally. That would be premature. But what we are saying, and what we can confirm based on cross-verification from multiple sources, is that something has undeniably shifted. The employee claimed that certain Chase branches, particularly in high-net-worth markets and regional hubs, have already received preliminary memos discussing IQD and VND redemption protocols. These internal communications allegedly highlight the importance of discretion, the possibility of non-disclosure agreements for participants, and special handling procedures for exotic currency exchanges. For those of you who've been in this space for a while, you know just how significant this kind of movement is. Chase Bank has long been considered one of the key players in the future RV landscape due to its deep global financial connections, its close working relationship with the U.S. Treasury, and its massive infrastructure for international currency trading. So when a Chase employee confirms that the systems are not just prepared but actively populating live IQD and VND rates, that's a signal that something serious is underway behind closed doors. The most shocking part of this revelation? The rates themselves. According to the insider and corroborated by at least two other bank sources we've spoken with in recent days, the provisional rates being shown internally are far higher than most people anticipated. The Iraqi Dinar is reportedly showing an internal test rate north of 3.90, while the Vietnamese Dong is being reflected at just under $0.50. Let that sink in for a moment. These are not the speculative rates that many online forums and chat rooms have tossed around for years. These are actual figures being loaded into the back end of Chase's proprietary systems, meant only for authorized personnel with Tier 2 and Tier 3 clearance. Now, naturally, we have to take a cautious approach when dealing with this kind of information. Banks are notorious for testing placeholder rates or creating sandbox environments for simulation purposes. But the source emphasized that these were not simulations. These were active systems linked to real-time liquidity metrics, suggesting that Chase may be running pilot programs or even beginning pre-redeem procedures for select clients. It's possible, perhaps even likely, that these tests are part of a broader soft rollout happening behind the scenes before the global announcement is made to the public. This theory is supported by reports from multiple currency holders who claim they were approached by private wealth managers from Chase over the past 2 weeks. These clients were quietly invited to attend informal consultations about their holdings in IQD and VND. During these meetings, they were reportedly asked to verify the amount of currency they owned, whether it was legally acquired, and whether they had intentions of exchanging within the next 90 days. Some were even offered initial redemption appointments, although all of them were allegedly required to sign strict non-disclosure agreements. The NDAs reportedly barred them from discussing rate specifics, appointment details, or any personal information about the bank employees involved. Let's step back and examine the bigger picture. Over the past several months, we've seen a crescendo of activity. Central banks around the world updating their currency reserves, digital asset systems being integrated into mainstream banking platforms, and repeated calls from financial leaders, urging a new global economic reset. The IMF has been quietly adjusting its SDR basket metrics. The World Bank has issued multiple reports warning of a new fiscal framework coming into place. And within that context, the IQD and VND have always been seen as key players, especially the dinar, whose value was severely suppressed during and after the war, despite Iraq sitting on one of the largest oil reserves in the world. So if Chase Bank is now actively preparing for exchanges, even on a limited basis, this could be the match that lights the fuse. We're not just talking about rumors on Telegram or vague posts on Reddit. This is real intel from a major U.S. bank with connections all the way to the top. And the fact that they're taking this seriously enough to set up special teams, prepare documentation, and brief wealth managers, well, that tells us we're closer than ever before to an actual public rollout. Many of you have asked, what should I do now? Well, first, don't panic and don't rush. But if you're a holder of IQD or VND, now is the time to get your paperwork in order. Make sure your currency is authentic and properly documented. Organize your receipts. Have a plan in place for how much you intend to exchange, what rates you'd be comfortable with, and how you plan to manage your funds post-exchange. It's also wise to research trust structures, asset protection strategies, and tax implications. Because once the public rollout happens, and all signs are pointing to it happening soon, you'll want to be ready to move quickly, intelligently, and securely. Another major takeaway from the Chase employees' comments was the emphasis on timing. The individual hinted that while live rate testing was already occurring, the actual window for public redemption might be narrow and highly coordinated. They used the phrase scheduled windows and phase-based redemptions, suggesting that the banks may roll out access in waves based on client tiers, net worth, or account standing. This aligns with long-standing theories that Tier 1 and Tier 2 holders, primarily large institutions and politically connected individuals, would go first, followed by Tier 3, average currency holders, and then Tier 4B, which many of you watching are likely part of. There was also a mention of security measures being dramatically heightened in Chase branches that are part of this program. Some locations have begun discreetly upgrading their security cameras, installing biometric ID systems, and training staff in privacy protocols. Why? Because once the news officially breaks, there's an expectation of a massive influx of people seeking to exchange, and banks want to avoid chaos, fraud, and security threats. These new measures are being implemented quietly, but they are very real, and they further confirm that something is happening now, not months from now. One of the most emotional responses we've seen came from a Vietnam War veteran who has held onto his IQD and VND for over a decade. He spoke with us after hearing the Chase news and said, "I've waited all these years, watched the economy go up and down, and kept the faith. If what they're saying is true, then this could change my life and my family's future forever." And that's the reality here. This isn't just about money, it's about lives, dreams, and long-awaited justice for those who believed when everyone else laughed. And there's more. We've learned that not just Chase, but several other Tier 1 banks, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and even Citi, are reportedly involved in similar quiet preparations. There is an unconfirmed report that a separate bank location in Texas received an internal memo labeling the IQD as a priority asset and instructing certain departments to be prepared for incoming transactional procedures. Combine that with the sudden increase in job postings at these banks for positions related to foreign exchange, wealth management, and international currency analysis, and the picture becomes even clearer. We are witnessing the final pieces being put into place. The infrastructure is there. The bank systems are active. The currency holders are alert. And now, we're getting leaks from inside the very institutions that will carry out this massive financial transformation. For years, people have said, "I'll believe it when I see it." Well, now you're seeing it, in the form of Chase, bank employees risking their careers to tell the truth, in live rate testing that's no longer just hypothetical, and